This is Anatomy of Success, and I'm your host, Steve Wollenhaus. This week, 7 ways anger can make you stronger. And believe me, I know a little bit of something about this. Man, in my 20s, was I a powder keg. We're going to talk more about that today. Glad you joined us. Let's get started. Welcome back. I'm Steve Wollenhaus. This is Anatomy of Success, and we talk about my 4 tenets of equanimity, the pathway, I believe, to greater life satisfaction, more happiness in life, greater relationships, and more satisfying work, and making health top priority. And I want to reiterate at this time that these things that I talk about, it's not me talking down to you in some condescending fashion as if I'm this omnipotent wise guru. I'm talking to you from personal experience. And this topic today, I can tell you right now, I have to make a confession. I used to get pissed off super easily, and anger used to dominate how I conducted myself. But I also learned there's some valuable lessons we can take and extract from that tendency, and that's what we talk about here today. And if you would, please follow us here, subscribe on YouTube, follow us and subscribe to our podcast as well. Rate, review. We always appreciate your feedback, and find me at Weatherology. That's my company page. At the top of that page, you'll find links to my social media accounts. Now, anger gets a bad reputation, and for obvious reasons, because it's frequently accompanied by destructive behavior. Unlike the more appealing emotions, happiness, joy, hope, anger has a dark side, and that can be very unattractive and dangerous. However, all emotions have a purpose, and if used properly, they can be incredibly powerful. Anger serves as a signal to let us know something is off and it demands attention. Irritation, frustration, trying to tell us something. But it often gets expressed as anger with damaging consequences. Instead, we can recognize what anger is attempting to say and leverage its power to motivate remarkable insight, something I've had to do. 7 ways anger can make you stronger. Here we go. Ignition. Anger is a great way to ignite our psychological response system. Doctors at the University of Toronto have discovered that anger activates a psychological reaction that improves athletic performance. In a similar study, anger was shown to improve accuracy. The research examined NHL players that got penalized and the number of players that scored goals afterwards, after they got penalized. Being angry resulted in more scoring opportunities. Creativity. At Texas A&M and the University of California, Irvine, researchers measured creativity and discovered anger improved persistence and perseverance. When participants struggled to solve a problem, frustration motivated determination that improved their success. A surge of anger can spark creativity and invigorate our mind. Just can't stay there. Boundaries. Psychologists believe disagreement and conflict can strengthen relationships and lead to better boundaries. Of course, we are talking about civilized dissent here. Working through difficult issues and asserting our boundaries is a beneficial way to achieve compromise and work toward getting our needs met and helping the other person get their needs met. Release. Every angry situation leads to a result in my situation. I go for a run. I go to the gym. I work on the heavy bag. Anger releases tension when we let it in a productive, positive way. When we rely on healthy releases for our anger, the effects are incredibly calming. Reflect and repair. Feeling anger is an opportunity to look deep in ourselves and discover the source, especially if it's recurring. That promotes greater emotional intelligence and leads to personal improvement. And I know plenty of people that have destroyed relationships over volatile behavior. When anger inspires us to reflect and examine its origin, we grow and we improve, and so do our relationships. restore. Many of our relationships have unresolved issues. Words are said that can't be taken back, and the damage germinates until it strangles the relationship. In the process of personal improvement, we need to contemplate any harm we've inflicted on the people we love most and restore those relationships. Not every relationship is intended to be repaired or reconciled, but our essential connections do require constant attention. When we acknowledge our mistakes and apologize when required, it goes a long way to restoring those ruptured relationships. Results. When negotiating, anger can lead to a more promising outcome. Hear me out. If the other party senses anger, they may be inclined to acquiesce to avoid confrontation. Of course, anger in this context has to be very subtle. Anger can make us stand up for what we deserve and be obstinate about a favorable conclusion. Standing up for what we believe, that's essential for guarding our values and protecting our best interests. But we got to be careful and not use this as a manipulative tactic. I'm talking about a situation where you're genuinely aroused to be upset because things aren't proceeding in a positive direction. You recognize that and you stand up for yourself. Not to be intentionally volatile or intentionally adversarial, but to get your point across to reach a conclusion that's more conducive to both parties. Glad you joined us this week. Anger, something many of us feel. And there's been a lot of that going on the past 3 to 4 years in light of everything that's been happening in our world. Got to challenge yourself to take that anger and use it as a catalyst to move us in a positive direction, and I hope you do. I'm Steve Wohlenhaus. This is Anatomy of Success. Glad you joined us. Come back next week. Until then, let's stay focused, let's stay positive, and let's stay optimistic.